Okay, I'm just going to give an overview of my 1989 Henry O 170 center console. The trailer's a 2001. It's a magic tilt. The engine's a 2006 Yamaha 115. The boat does need some work, but it's mechanically sound. The hull, I had the hull, a couple cracks patched, but it's ready to fish. I'm just doing some more work. I'm going to be restoring this boat. So we'll start at the back. When I bought the boat, it had fishing rods, here and here, and I took them out because this hull is foam filled. It's a double bottom, and I want as few holes as possible in the side of the boat that can get down into the foam. So I filled them with closed cell foam, and I'm going to have a fiberglass shop fiberglass over top of this. At the rear of the boat, there's an awful lot of holes. So there's the deck scuppers. This goes all the way through. This is a through hole that looks like it used to be a live well drain for the rear of the boat. There's no longer a live well there, so I'll be removing this and filling this in. This is the through hole for the bilge pump. This is the transducer for the Garmin fish finder that came with the boat. There were also a lot of screws, just screws bedded into the fiberglass here and down here. You can see something used to be mounted, probably this or another transducer. And there's a hole here. There's just little screw holes all over the boat. There's a through hole for the bilge and the rest of the boat. So I'll be filling all these in with 5200, and then I will, when I start to have the boat restored, I'm not going to do the fiberglass work. I'm going to have a shop do it. But when I have the boat restored, I'll have them make sure that it is properly done. For now, I'm just going to fill them with 5200. That's approved for underwater. On this side, I haven't quite figured out what this through hole is for. You can see that it's below the other through hole for the deck scupper. It's a couple inches below, actually. I haven't figured out what this is for yet, but it looks like it's made out of brass, so it's probably for feeding one of the live wells maybe. But there's also a live well pickup right there that is connected to a pump, so maybe the two are connected together. Like I said, I just haven't figured it out yet. I've only had the boat for about a month, and it's been at the fiberglass shop for several of those weeks. There was another bracket mounted here, plastic one. Not sure what it was used for, but I took that out, and I'm going to be filling those in as well. Not a huge fan of this swim platform, but it's the easiest way to get in and out of the boat. And then I'm going to step up in. So here's the live well that came with the boat. I have this disconnected because there was a plastic collar that was falling apart. And I'm going to take all these hatches out, recaulk them, inspect everything underneath. Here's the bilge area. There's the pump right here. That appears to have two outlets. There's one down here. It does have a valve on it. I believe this feeds the raw water washdown and the live well. And then beneath that, down there in white, you can see the bilge pump, which does work. All these pumps work. The engine rigging I'm not a fan of it. I want it to go straight down through this hatch and then continue forward. Sorry, I'm struggling with this GoPro. And then come up underneath where the batteries are going to go. Right now it goes through, it just takes up a lot of space. Even with the engine tilted down, all this rigging just lays here and it's in the way. There was a leading post here, there was a post there and a post there, and then it was a box that went across them. I removed it. I bought a new leaning post that's not here yet. I'm rewiring the boat currently, so there's a lot of wiring stuff laying around. There's a, this was the original fish box, I believe. And as you can see, somebody has drilled holes in it. Probably had some pumps mounted in here, and then they changed their mind and filled them in. This is under the console. This is very dirty. This boat's outside for I'm not sure how many years. So there's the there's a speaker there on the left, and you can see the pump, or the the hose for the fuel tank, the large one with the red, and then there's the steering cable here and a couple other. There's a pump up there as well for the front storage box. I haven't figured out yet how that works, but as you can see, there's wiring that's just disconnected. The boat did come with 2 batteries. There was this is the starting battery, and everything is connected to it. And then there was a house battery that had some things connected to it. The batteries were not wired properly, and I'm going to fix that. I'm going to be installing probably a Blue Sea Systems fuse block, probably 2 of them actually, 6 block and a 12 block, because I want to have everything switched on this boat. So turning the key will really do nothing except control the engine. I'll have the radio on a switch, VHF radio, everything will be switched because I don't want anything to drain my batteries. The only thing that will be directly wired is the bilge pump. Here's a little storage area that's falling apart. I'll be taking this apart and fixing it. And then here's the dash layout, which I'll be changing. So there's the current controls. Not all of these work. The navigation lights do work, the bilge pump does work. Saltwater pump and accessory, I don't know what those do. I think the wires are not connected currently. Steering wheel, it has tilt steering. It tilts up and down. The fiberglass is cracking. I'll be fixing all this. Yamaha controls for the engine. Yamaha gauges for the engine. These are for, this is a Clarion. There was a Clarion radio in the box overhead. I took the box out, took all the wiring out, took the speakers out, took the radio out. They were all junk. I'm going to be redoing this layout. I'll probably move the ignition switch over to here with a small handful of switches, and then I'm going to put a radio here next to the throttle, and then redo these gauges as well to fit more stuff. There's the Garmin. I'm going to put, I have a box to put up there. It doesn't quite fit, it's actually too small. Here's 2 oars that came with. Hold on, I don't want to lose that screw. So here's the, what I call the anchor locker. And according to the Henry O specifications, there's no longer a website, but according to the specifications, this was actually a fish box, an insulated fish box with a drain. And that drain does go all the way back to the bilge. I've ran a fish tape through it. There's nothing blocking it. A lot of this fiberglass is cracked as well. No big deal. We can get that repaired. That might just even be the paint being cracked from people slamming it. I'll probably put shocks on some of these doors. Here's everything is wet because it's the morning and there's dew on everything. Here's the box I'll be putting in overhead for the overhead console. There's tape because I'm going to be drilling some holes in it to make it work with U-bolts up on the T-top. And then here is what I'm calling the fish box. And it's actually, I think this is an insulated storage as well. It's pretty thick. So here you can see where the pump from underneath the console is connected. It's not connected to power yet, but down there in the bottom, there's, I'm guessing, the drain, but the pump just recirculates it back in. So both of these are through holes. That one has a plug in it, but there's no water that reaches up into here from anywhere on the boat, so you probably have to fill this with the raw water wash down, and then it recirculates. But I'm probably going to be using this for an actual fish box once I get all my storage figured out. It's pretty deep though. It's probably a good 1.5 feet deep, and it does have an actuator on it to help keep it from getting slammed down. And I'll be having a cushion made for this as well. This is not factory from what I've read online, this door, but it is a nice access door for the electronics, and I have been using it. It has helped me a ton. So in there, it's probably hard to see, there's a ground block screwed into the fiberglass, and that is the piece that's just underneath the steering wheel. It's like a little glove box, and right there is where we'll be mounting 2 Blue Sea Systems fuse blocks side by side, and then the batteries, the house battery, will just come up and feed. There will actually be a Perco switch or a battery disconnect, whatever you want to call it, that route's up there, and I haven't figured out where I'm going to mount that yet, but it probably will be on the side of the console somewhere. And then here's the fuel tank and the fuel vent. I believe from what I've read, this is a 39-gallon fuel tank. There's a speaker down there. There's a fire extinguisher and another speaker. So I'll probably mount the battery disconnect maybe like right here. It's just a thing you turn. You turn the juice off to everything. Okay, well, that's the boat, and I'll give some updates as this project comes along.